I'm Matthew Woods, host of Leading Out of the Woods, a part of the Education Podcast Network, just like the show you're listening to now. Shows on the network are individually owned, and opinions expressed may not reflect others. Find other interesting education podcasts at edupodcastnetwork.com.
Welcome to episode 90 of the Burned In Teacher Podcast. I'm your host, Amber Harper, and this is one part burnout and all other parts action, inspiration, and support for teachers dealing with burnout. Today's episode is short and sweet, and I know you need it. So let's go. Welcome to the Burned In Teacher Podcast. I'm Amber Harper, and the educators on this podcast are brave enough to share their stories of burnout with the world. On BIT, we get real, we get honest, and we take action. Action against the burnout with stories from burned out teachers, advice from experts, and actionable steps you can take today to beat the burnout and become a happier, more fulfilled human being. Let's get started. You know, during my 12-year teaching career, it seemed like there was always something throwing off my lesson plans, mindset, or goals. And when I began to burn out and tried to talk about it, all I heard was join the club, go for a walk, have a glass or 3 of wine. This is just the way it is. The current challenges you're facing, distance learning, new technologies, higher expectations, discipline issues, a personal crisis, a global pandemic, all of these challenges make your everyday life seem unmanageable. Until now. Teacher burnout has been hacked, and the book is here. In Hacking Teacher Burnout, I share my 8-step process that shines a light on burnout as an opportunity for growth and change. And in it, I empower you to become burned in, a fulfilled, happy, efficient, and effective teacher in the classroom and in life. You'll learn the steps you can take to take action steps based on your burnout type. Feel ready for the next challenge. Thrive, not just survive, personally and professionally. Feel ready for and learn how to grow through your burnout, and so much more. Hacking Teacher Burnout is here and ready for you to order on Amazon and BarnesandNoble.com, so go check it out. Or go to hackingteacherburnout.com to learn more and place a bulk order for your staff. Take a deep breath because you're about ready to do something big for your burnout. Burn on. Hello there, Burned In teachers. I'm so glad you're here today. And if you haven't noticed, I may not sound as enthusiastic as I have in past episodes. And that is for several reasons. One of them being I'm not feeling so well myself today. The other reason is because this episode is not as well planned and well thought out as I typically do for an episode. This is more of really me just thinking in the moment about emails that I've received in the last few days, even this morning, conversations I've been having on Facebook Messenger or Instagram DMs, or things that I'm seeing people post in their Instagram stories, people who mean a lot to me, who I care about. And I'm titling this episode, I See You and I Hear You, because I think more now than ever before, you, my listener, need to be heard and to know that you're seen and to know that people are paying attention and they may not know what to say to help you, but just knowing that you're heard and that you're seen is enough. And I hear you and I see you. And based on the conversations that I've been having, it's almost like as much as we would like to say that we're just doing the best that we can with what we have, where we are, which was actually the title of my first episode from August of 2020 of this season of the Burned In Teacher Podcast. It's not enough anymore to just say that we're doing the best we can with what we have, where we are. It's one of these situations where we're just doing. And I know that for some of you, this is a season, we're here in December already, where season, based on the calendar and based on, where we are in the world being colder and darker, that's also maybe the season that we're feeling emotionally. I have educator friends. I have an educator that I love very much with my whole heart, my husband, who are going through things on a daily basis that are unimaginable. And even thinking about these things makes me emotional. You know, a lot of you have reached out to me about my last solo episode, Ain't Nobody Got It All Together, about how much it resonated with you. And it's because it's true. Nobody has it all together. But I think that in these last few weeks and months, since here in the States at least, COVID has risen to new levels, and teachers are being consistently put into situations that could be or are unsafe. We're being asked to make big changes very quickly, and we ourselves may be sick, or we have someone in our home who is sick. We have to even get past this idea that ain't nobody got it all together and just get into the fact that we are just in a really difficult spot. And to be able to say confidently, I'm not in a good spot. It might feel too hard. Right now, it's just too hard. And that it's okay. And I'm not here to offer you advice today. I'm here just to, again, like I said, this is not really well planned, and I don't even know if I'm executing it well. But even for me, it's been hard to know what to say, because there's nothing that I feel that I could say to make anything better. And I know that's not my job to make everything better. But I just, for this week's episode, I just want you to know that I see you. If you feel unseen by your students, by the families that you're serving, by your administrator, your fellow colleagues, your family, anybody, if you feel unseen, I see you. And I got an email today from somebody, and I appreciated it so much because it really helped me to remember who my people are. And anytime I'm struggling, I go back to who am I serving? And I will always be serving that teacher who is crying in her car on the way to work and has to pry her fingers off of the steering wheel to open up her car door and force herself to unlock the door into the school, force her key into the door of her classroom, and go in to teach kids. And that might be how you're feeling just about opening your computer every day right now. I will always go back to that teacher because that was me. And I got an email from a teacher who is feeling extremely undervalued, and that what she does doesn't matter to anybody else in the school. She's being called to sub for other teachers who are out, who she feels are, being placed with more value than she is. And I don't blame her for feeling that way, that she can't teach her content because she's subbing for another teacher. But these are the situations that cause us to question our value, right? And in her email, she said that she appreciated my messages, but they're just not working. And that was after taking the teacher burnout quiz. And they are automated messages. I couldn't possibly send everybody an email after they take the quiz. Thousands of teachers have taken it. But it caused me to think about, right now, those emails in a typical setting of a typical year, which is already hard. Teaching was already hard. I said this yesterday when I was speaking. I said, teaching is already hard. And then COVID was like, hold my beer, watch this. Teaching was already so hard. And even in a typical year, my messages and my emails to people after they take the quiz would have been okay for them to get to know Burned In Teacher and me and what I stand for and a little bit about my history. But right now, I don't know what to say to make things better for you. I don't know what to say to get you to wake up in the morning and not tell yourself how hard the day is going to be. If that is in fact your story, it might not be. And my hope to you is that you are listening and you're thinking, I'm okay. I'm going to be okay. But if you're listening to this and you're thinking, man, I'm not okay, it's okay. I can't remember was it a book? Was it a song back when I was a kid that says, I'm not okay, you're not okay, and it's okay. So maybe as kind of a part 2 to Ain't Nobody Got It All Together, I think this is another reminder of how when we're all in this mess, and I'm not going to say, and this is a shout out to my friend Alexa Shepard, that, it can be a little bit defeating to hear everybody say, we're all in this together. Sucks for all of us. It kind of waves off the responsibility to actually acknowledge how hard it is, and to say, I don't know what to do. I don't know. And I think that's a fact that nobody is saying. And shame on anybody who is saying we're going to keep going with business as usual. Because we can't. We can't possibly go on with business as usual right now. So I don't know if you needed to hear this today. I don't know. But all I can say is it's been hard for me to figure out what to say because I want to help. And I think that is where we can show some positive intent and some grace to those people that are trying to say things like, we're all in this together and we're going to get through this. And, we have to keep pushing forward. I'm all about forward thinking. I really am. I'm all about, focusing on the future. But when things are this hard, I think it's time for us to just stop and to acknowledge that, I don't know what to say. I don't go to school with you every day. I don't know what you're dealing with on a daily basis. And this just plain sucks. This came up in my talk yesterday too. It's okay to say that this sucks and this isn't ideal and that I don't know if I can make it through this. But I want you to know that I'm here if you want to make it through this. And the community is here. And when I talk about the community, I'm talking about the Burned In Teacher Facebook community. We are here if you want to try. And we may not have answers. We may not know exactly what you're going through. We may not know what to say. But if you don't feel heard, if you don't feel seen, if you don't feel that you could, walk into a room and scream that anybody would hear you, that we hear you. And it's okay. You're not a bad person. You're not a bad teacher. You're a human being dealing with a crisis that is just by the day more and more and more unbelievable. What's being asked of teachers and students and families, and it's hard to know what to do. So, like I said, this isn't coming from a place of judgment. I don't know what you're dealing with on a daily basis. I could maybe assume, but I don't know. I know what Jeff is going through on a daily basis. I know what his school is going through right now. And it's heartbreaking. It's unbelievable. And I hear you and I see you. And even though you may feel completely overwhelmed and stuck in the situation, I do know that it's temporary. Everything is temporary. Everything. And again, I don't know what to say. I'm here for you. So take a deep breath. If nothing else, stop what you're doing. Take a deep breath. Because even now in this moment, you are taking a step to becoming a burned in teacher. I'll see you next week. Burn on.
If you enjoyed today's podcast episode, you can head over to burnedinteacher.com where you can access the entire vault of Burned In Teacher podcast episodes and more information about ways I want to help you go from burned out teacher to burned in human. If you enjoyed today's episode, I would be so grateful if you would head over to iTunes and leave a review and a rating about the Burned In Teacher podcast. Until next time, take a deep breath. because you just took another step to becoming a burned-in teacher. Burn on.